I get tenfold when there's not a stream. So
Yeah, so I'm a lot meaner to him than you guys see. um, we definitely go at it. So
but this team would not be the same without the Sassy's help leading the team and the organizing and getting us all on the same page and me cracking the whip in Battlefield. So we've got a great team. It's been a lot of work. Um, but you can see today we're doing really well. So anybody looking for a castle, we have some castles available. We'd love some good team members, new team members. We need you to coin some of these castles, even a little bit. But we do have castles available and looking to make the team stronger. So um, message Sassy. You could do it right here in this server and put your in-game name. Um, connect with you on Whisper or Mail, and come on over to 467. Come join this beast of a team.
Dwayne
Only
wants
getting
to know
better.
how long did it take you to get to this level?
I've been playing now.
Do you mean Hex or the Alliance or both? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, if it's me personally, I've been playing for a little less than 4 years. In February, around Valentine's Day, I believe it'll be about 4 years.
He said both, and it's in January.
Okay, sorry, January. See, that's why we got SAS. So January, it'll be 4 years. And the team really has just been a collective process over the 4 years. Like we started off really strong. We had a different team. There was different players here. Over time, you always have political issues and you know uh, drama in the server. So those are things you got to deal with. You just got to try to get everybody collectively aligned and let them know that hey, you're playing for one purpose. In 467, we like to do a military alliance and then the casual alliances. So we have our strongest in one alliance, and we segregate the boss. So the big boss go to the big castles because they need more to develop, and the smaller players, take the smaller boss because they don't need as much to develop. But they're not prohibited from taking the big boss. Any player that is really active and wants to play and is trying to be a PvP player, we take them into the big alliance and they grow faster in the big alliance because we're getting the big boss. Plus, they're with all the players that are super experienced, so they grow fast. But we started off super strong. There was a player called Power, who you saw today, myself, and Scorpio, kind of the three big ones leading. And then we had a lot of other players, like the team that you see here today, with the exception of a couple players that came along later. But over time, we've some players unfortunately passed away. Rest in peace, Scorpio. He was a big part of our server and a big part of our team, and it was a real big loss when he left. He was a heavy corner, but he passed away, and we were not doing so well for a while, especially because Power and him were best friends in real life, and the loss at an early age was a little painful. So Power took some time away from the game, and during that time, we went from 3 to 1 lead, and it became really tough. But we stuck with it. We developed guys. We developed good programs in the server to grow people. And now we're at a point where, we have a lot of people who are really strong. Many players over 3,000 archers, a few near 4,000, and some over 4,000, and some close to 5,000. So the team is definitely growing nice, but it takes a lot of effort. And it's really just about handling personalities. You got to get your server to play as one and not individuals, because that's not going to win. You need to leverage all the strength that's available to you in your server and then use that in alignment against your opponents. Teams that separate their power, have three equal alliances for whatever reason they want to try that strategy. Those are the teams that always, need to combine for SVS to defend the throne. And then that leaves somebody not eligible for BOC or Chalons. And those players over time wind up falling back because they can't get the dragons, because they're missing the big events and battlefields because they're defending the throne in SVS, or they decide not to play SVS and then they wind up losing their throne and the server falls apart because people aren't working together. So I found a big benefit, and the R4s of Zero and the leadership of 467 found big benefits in doing what we do. I talked a lot, but any other questions?
Um, they want to see some scout reports, so maybe I can go to them and you can kind of explain why. I think some of these guys are newer and they want to know why you sent what you sent
Yeah,
first.
sure.
Maybe you can just talk about it as I show them reports.
Yeah. Um, I don't know if I'm seeing what you're seeing.
Well, I haven't clicked on one yet. I'm actually we've attacked so many. I'm trying to get to the beginning. All right, our first one that we attacked right here.
All right, I'm gonna join your stream here.
Okay.
I'll mute it so that I think you can hear me.
This was our first attack, guys, on Saul Carter. Um,
Can you send me the link?
yeah. It's actually, hold on.
Is it in our Zero chat? Oh yeah, I got it. I got it. So
Okay.
you don't gotta do anything. I got it.
Is it in our
YouTube.
Zero chat?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mute your video.
Your Zero chat.
I gotta figure out how to do that.
We have consolidated all of our PvP into one alliance and have a good Discord community. We play like you, but way slower. It's hard on the stream to figure out when you scout or who scouts, etc.
Okay, so typically, we've developed a method in 467 to attack without scouts, and it's basically just understanding the composition of the castles from a general sense. We look at the power, we look at the monarch level, look at the castle decorations, where they're at in the hive. Are they sitting? Are they moving? Those things all give us clues into their strength without the scout. The reason why we're so fast is because we typically attack without scouts. And we're pretty successful at it. There's some generalizations you can make with some castles. For example, with our strength, if there's a castle under 10B, it doesn't matter what's inside the castle. We can just clear the horse first. We'll send archers, and then we'll follow up with calves. And if with the first one doesn't kill it, the second one will. Two rallies will kill that really easy. When you got players that are over 20B, 25B, 30B, you don't even need to scout those players. You know, those players got a little bit of everything. And the first thing that's going to hit you when you attack is the siege, because your siege fire. So the mechanics of the battle are siege will fire first from the rear of your march. As the siege are firing, your archers fire. The archers fire after the siege, but the horse run out front, and the horse are the fastest. So although your siege bombs are in the air and your archer arrows are in the air, the horse are running out first. The horse encounter their ground first because the ground they're standing out in front. But your horse run past your ground to attack the enemy's ground first. Then your ground comes in behind, and in the meantime, your siege is hitting their siege. Your archers are hitting their horse, and that's the essential flow of the mechanics. So on a big castle loaded with siege, they have a lot of siege. Those siege are gonna bombard your troops coming in. You're sending a rally of maybe what 70 to 80 million, but you're attacking 1.3 billion to 2 billion troops. Even if a lot of them are T1, there's still a heavy concentration of siege there. So you got to eliminate the siege in those big targets first. The way we like to do it is small siege. So you win on power exchange because the small siege are gonna take out the big siege first before they get down to the small siege. That's for the super big players. But anybody like you gotta judge by the strength of
For
your team.
instance, this one. Give them an example. Here's Teddy, 15.1B. Yeah, we went.
So yeah, with Teddy, he's 15.1B. What did we send here?
Siege.
Okay, yeah. So I would send siege on this one and then archer. Teddy probably healed and was a little bit bigger, so we suspect that he had more siege. Normally, for a 15B player, a siege archer kills him. You can even go archer cav to kill him, depending on how strong it is and how strong the composition of your team is, plus how far along in the match you are. As you're later in the match, everybody's sending small troops, as you saw we did, sending rallies with T8 ground. Nobody does that. But if you're early enough in the match, a quick siege and an archer will clear that, or a quick archer and a ground will clear. I mean, a cav will clear that. You want to take out the horse because the horse are gonna eliminate. They're gonna work against your siege. Um, and then the horse comes in to take care of the ground.
So here's the order of how we hit Teddy. We did siege. There's the second one. We sent
Should be
range.
archer.
Yep.
Yep.
And then this is what we took from him. I'll just show the top tier. And then we followed it up. Where to go?
Cav should be next.
Yep, we followed up at mounted. I think we still had one more and he jumped. Nope, he was dead here.
Yeah, he died after that one. You want to attack siege, archer, cav, ground in most situations. Not in every situation, but in most situations. With castles under, 20B. If you're targeting castles over that, then you're going to need repeated siege attacks, because you got to eliminate all of those siege before you send your archers. If not, the siege are going to jack up your archers, and your archers are going to be inefficient. You're going to lose your power ratio. I like to run siege, archer, cav, ground. Most of the time, cav clears everything. Super strong castles, the cav will lose and the ground will come in and clear everything. On the really big boys, it's more like siege, 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 siege. Then archer, siege again if they heal. You got to be a little bit more flexible when you're 0-1 castles like 30B and up. They have a lot of heals and usually a lot of strength.
When I'm playing Hex's Castle, I just keep in mind if it's like 15 to 12B and under, I usually start with archer.
Yep.
But if it's above, I always start with siege.
Yeah, it's a good general rule to have. Anything above 15B, start with siege. Anything below 15B, start with archer. And follow the same flow. But it's really all about the speed. We have a good setup in 467. We have spotters who look for targets. We have people who are on the target that we're rallying to see if they jump. We do coordinated solos, so we have a team that does that. So it's a little bit of flexibility.
And also, don't get discouraged. You attack somebody and you lose. You're negative like 1.5B. Don't be discouraged. Sometimes it takes that first loss to get the second win.
Yeah, definitely. We will lose on power exchange sometimes the first two rallies, but then that sets up the third and fourth. So it's not always a bad thing to lose. Sometimes you have to make sure the composition in the castle that you're attacking is going to be suitable to the next rally. And we do that a lot. Like even sometimes when players don't have siege, we've already sieged them, but they got a lot of archers. We'll come in with another siege, because after your siege, take out all the siege, they're going to hit into your archer layers. So we make the archers weaker, and then we'll come with our archers to take out the horse and the remaining archers that they have, because the archers will also attack the archers after the horse are dead. And usually at that point, they're just loaded with ground and some more archers, and we can come in with calves and clear it all out. If they have a lot of archers, that's when you see our calves fail. They still win on power exchange, but then we'll send the fourth rally, which is the ground, and the ground just kills everything else.
Is there any other questions? Sorry, you can keep going, but I just wanted to ask now.
No, yeah, more questions. I can't hear them, so it's kind of tough for me to.
No, I
I
will
can't see him.
tell you if
Yeah,
they ask a question.
yeah.
Also, keep in mind, like he said, we do have about how many do we have? One, two. Do we have two or three castles available?
I think we got like 4 or 5, depending on the type of player that comes in. We have castles, ranging from 0 to 20B ish, that are available. I'd say there's a really good one at 11B, and there's another solid one that could be an excellent trap with good marches for joining PvP rallies. That's about 3B. We also have another one that's about the same, too big for a trap, but is a good rally joining castle
6B, I
and
believe.
has potential at about 7B.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's some good castles here. They're not expensive. We're not looking to make money on castles. We're looking to build a better team.
Yeah, we're looking
So,
to put somebody in it to fill rallies, really, is what we're
yeah,
trying to do.
if you can build on the castle that's there, if you can coin on it a little bit at least, so that you're staying up to date with everything, the team will help you grow. We collect resources, trade resources, swap farms. We have a system where we exchange subs for building. So the team has 11 gold Europes, 11 gold Americas. We hold them inside a farm. And when anyone wants to upgrade, we swap all the subs out. So we give them up to 11 Europes or 11 Americas, and that'll significantly decrease the time that's required to upgrade your tech or your construction. So a lot of things like that we do in the server. It's really just about helping each other make the team better. We don't have, an opponent in the server per se. You always have some guys that want to cause trouble, but in our server, none of those guys can kill any of our castles because they're just off farms. They're just small. The most they can do to you is leave a red scout for an hour on your building, which now the settings that Evony put in makes that obsolete too. You can cancel out any castle, for example, under 50 million, setting a scout on you. It won't even give you an alert because you know that castle is not going to do anything to you. So you have those options now. We really
So,
don't have for the most part, a peaceful server.
just to be clear, we do need a merge. However, we do have a big team, as you can see.
Yeah,
We we have a pretty large team.
I would even say if we got 1 or 2 more strong players, we wouldn't even need a merge. We're just 1 or 2 players away from competing with those big guys. I mean, you saw we should be ranked about 33 now with Vig and RSP at the head of that, with some others notable alliances there. So we're not super far. You know, we've been the most we've ranked first once in Chalons. We've ranked third once, and then we've finished top 20 a few times, um, and top 40. I would say the remaining times we really rarely ever rank below 40 in Chalons. Which, when you think about how many alliances are in the entire game, top 40 team in the whole game. It's pretty cool.
I think if we get those extra castles filled, oh, there's no chance. I mean,
Yeah.
we're really building and doing really well. So, if
We're one or
anybody's
two players away
interested,
from top 10.
yeah.
Yep.
I've just moved from ghosting to a track keep. Do you have any tips? If you can remember what ghosting was like.
I never really ghosted. Sometimes I play around, and if I'm getting rallied and I want to experiment, I might ghost. Like, usually when they hit me, nobody hits me. Usually, I wish they would hit me more, but nobody hits me. But when they do, like an all star or something like that, it's usually with a siege first. So sometimes I may want to ghost my top tier siege. Not all of them, but most of them. I'd say like 85 to 90% of them. You still want a small amount in there for the layer effect. It's not going to it'll help your defense a little bit on power exchange. A strong rally is still going to crush your siege, but what it does do is it sets you up to defend against the next rally, because usually the next one is an archer, depending on your size. So when the first siege hits and you see the report, you unghost the siege, the top tier siege that you had. So when the archers come in, now your archers, the enemy archers are seeing your top siege, and it's going to significantly help your defense. As far as that, I would say on a 3B keep, if you're ghosting, what are you ghosting? That's the question. If you're ghosting a horse, I'd just keep your horse level low. You know, some traps that I'm seeing now, super built well, super strong, all flat refines. Usually it's to protect mounted. So you get heavy on the T1s, you protect your mounted with flats, and then you load up with alternating tiers of ground and archers. And you don't really need to ghost if you do it that way. A lot of people like to build horse because they like to boss and still be a trap. My advice would be just join. If you're a trap keep, just join. Don't kill the boss. Just join. Save yourself the resources. Don't build the horse. Build your T1s, your T2s, maybe small layers of horse throughout. But I wouldn't focus on ghosting horse. It makes you a little slower. It creates more confusion in battle. It ties up marches if you're trying to join rallies. It's a good way to play. Not a lot of people can do it, but I think you can build a good trap without ghosting.
Hex, I'm gonna run to the restroom, and Jasmine's gonna ask the next question for you.
Sure.
Just hit this button when you're done, so you don't make a noise. Hurry up. What button? Just up here. Oh.
It says, Hex, what is your goal in the next All Stars?
My goal in All Stars is always to make the finals, and it's usually because the finals offer a castle that has buff or a march decoration, and honestly, it's to just test the castle. The castle that I built is not attacked very often. Usually, the only time I'm attacked is in All Stars, and it's exciting for me because heck, maybe like most people don't like, I actually do like to get attacked. I think most people don't like to get attacked, but the castle was built well, and the only way for me to test it and to see what needs to be improved on is to get hit. So my goal, I guess you could say, in All Stars is to make the finals and to test my defense. Let me know what I got to build on to get stronger. So, yeah, in short, that's kind of what it is. I got all the dragons already, so I mean the dragons don't really help me unless they come out with new ones. But all the main generals and the walls are all have dragons, and I have a bunch of the um, what do you call them? The
Spiritual beast.
yeah, spiritual beast. A bunch of the spiritual beast on the subs. So I put my sub generals to use my spiritual beast because I have dragons. Another thing you can do if you're a player who solos a lot, if you solo a lot and you're in SVS and your generals are dying because you're soloing keeps that are obviously have a lot more troops than your one march. So you may win on the power exchange. You may hit a castle and you lose your march of like 700 million, but you take like 2 billion, depending on your strength and your size. If you're that type of keep that's soloing a lot and you got to revive your generals, you may want to consider, if you have all the dragons, throwing the dragons on your subs, because then that'll stop the generals from dying. I I don't like to do that. I do solo a lot. Another trick around your generals dying on the solos is to set a rally. Just set a solo rally and then launch it yourself. Cost 1,000 gems to do that every time you launch it, plus the speed ups. But it is effective. Your power exchange is usually much less than when you attack with your subs. because with the subs you have the extra debuff, so your hits usually go better. But your sub troops die, and sometimes your generals die if it's SVS. And if your generals die, that's a trick you can use, putting the dragons on as long as they're maxed, because it stops your general from dying.
Hex,
Kind of like playing the temples.
you were a great
Yep.
leader, Hex. Wish you and the team the best.
Ah, thank you.
And
Appreciate it, guys.
who are your wall generals?
I actually just switched. I'm just experimenting. I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. I use Leo because my size. So at my size, they're not going to send a horse or ground at me
I wish I could
first.
swap to
They're
your
going to send
screen.
siege. No, they're gonna show they're gonna come at me with siege first because of my size. So inherently, I have to protect against siege, and Leo does that. I was using Leo and George Dewey, um, but George Dewey is also good for siege, but gives you some mounted protection. I'm not mounted heavy. Um, I'm plus my mount to HP is pretty high already, and at the point where they're hitting me with mounted, well, I'm already in a lot of or archers. I'm already in a lot of trouble anyway because I've lost all my siege. So if I'm playing right and I'm protecting my castle the way I should be protecting my castle, they shouldn't have to come at me for my horse. So I don't need the extra protection on the horse. What I did now was I chose to use Sax, and Sax is not a wall general, but his buffs inherently help you defend against archer attacks. So I haven't taken a big hit yet. I haven't taken a hit yet since I made the switch. Nobody at all hit me in all of Chalons. They just kind of ignore me. Um, so I don't know how he's doing, but I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna see how it does. At least on paper, when I look at the statistics and try, hitting it with the farm, I see huge improvements using Sax over Dewey as an assistant with Leo. Huge improvements in attack, defense, and HP of the siege. So my siege attack went up by almost 100 points. Think like 80 to 100 points. My siege defense was about the same, and the HP was also about the same. So you're gaining, I would say between 60 and 100 points on each of those attributes, depending how you're built and how you make the general, which for me is worth it. I just haven't seen a real time hard hit with it yet, but everything that I'm seeing says that it should be better defense against the siege. And then I'll have to let my siege die and take a hit with archers to see the impact of Dewey not being on the wall to protect the horse. So that's a second part of it. So the first part is how good do I withstand the siege with the general, but then once the siege are dead, how well do I withstand the attack on the horse with the archers? So that's going to take a little bit of time for me to see and evaluate because nobody really hits me.
Hex loves to experiment. That's what we call it, guys.
Yeah.
Hex
Yeah.
experiments. That's what we do here.
I run a lot of experiments.
If
This
you
stuff
go
that
back into many of our battlefields, we do a lot of hex experiments. T1 attacks on a K44, like a level 1, just to see like the
what happens.
ratio, like what happens when you attack with just T1, what happens when you attack with just T4, what happens when you attack with just T8. So that's how we kind of figure things out. Sometimes, like today, you guys seen, we sent the lowest troops and killed that guy. It was like,
Yeah.
hold on, here it is, let me pull it up.
Normally people are like, oh, I only got T8s. Oh, we can't grant. Well, that's not rally. Forget it. We only got layers. Nah, we still stuck with it. And we hit them with enough and it burned them.
Yeah. You just never know. That's why you always got to experiment. Because listen, the game, this is something that we always preach. The game is always changing.
Yeah.
And so we have to
They
change too.
they do change the mechanics of the battle periodically. You'll see updates. They don't announce it, but you have to adjust. That's how, the biggest one I think that everybody noticed was the T1 trap. They changed the mechanics on the game, and the math was mathing for T1s, and if you had enough of them, your HP and defense on those was able to withstand some solo attacks just by sheer numbers and volume. Those things kind of weren't in the beginning of the game. It kind of, as it progressed, it became more prevalent.
With the last guy
Archer.
that we attacked, look at this one. Are you still on the screen?
Um, no, I'm pacing.
Oh, of
When I
course you
talk,
are.
I walk.
Go ahead.
I'm a walking talker.
Go ahead.
Okay, I see it now. Who was this?
This was the top tier. This was your top tier at the moment for the last attack we did. He
Oh
had
yeah,
T10 range. That was
yeah. It
it.
was just how many
This
did I send? Like 7 million
look.
T10
This
ranged,
is what we did, though. I mean, still, we sent the lowest amount of troops, and
and we burned a 7B or 8B K44.
I mean that's just crazy.
It's a lot of things factor in what their composition is, what your strength is, and of course what your composition is.
And that's without buff. He's not buffed
Yeah.
here. I can always tell when he's not buffed. You guys will hear me a lot
I
in these
usually don't
streams
buff.
to
I don't
yell
know
at him.
about. Yeah, I usually don't buff, guys. I buff in the beginning of the game. If I remember, I'll buff. If I'm gonna hit a really big castle, K44, K45, I'll buff. But most of the time, when your stats are like my stats, and plus or minus, if you're hitting somebody with 4700 archer, and then you hit him with 4650, it's really not gonna make that big of a difference. That extra 50 is not really, it's just for the show because it's 10%, less than 10%. Like it's over 1% actually. If you're 5,000, you put in 50, right? So it's nothing. It's nothing. It's not going to make a huge impact.
Yeah,
So
that
when I
buff is insane, but that's still not him fully buffed. That's not him buffed. So his
no,
his troop attack is up there, and that's not it. It's bad.
I'll tell you guys, I'll give you approximate. My archer is over 4,700. My horse is over 45. My siege is over 46. And my ground is close to 45, I believe. So those stats are it's pretty strong in the game. They're not the best in the game, but they're competitive for sure, and they take out 98% of the players.
He's
So
kind of a beast, guys.
I appreciate it, you guys. It helps having a good team and not only a good team, but
A
like
sass.
we've really become good friends, and yes, everybody. I recommend everybody needs a SAS. No, but we got a good core in the R4. We make our R4 only players who are aligned with the objective of the server. And the objective of the server is one military alliance and a strong server. So every decision we make, every rule we put in, has to satisfy those two things. Is it making the military alliance stronger? Is it making the server stronger? And that's a basic for us to build on. But the R4 have become players who are always in battlefield. Each of the R4s have a job. A job being like, somebody got to start the undead events. Somebody has to send out the mails for battlefield sign-ups. Little things like that. We spread the workload so that, not everything is all on one person. It's all spread out. Plus, people feel they have a sense of ownership and responsibility to make the team better. It's not all me. I lead the rallies, but without this team of R4, I'm useless. I'll become a tyrant castle who's just hitting everything and has no team. And there's a lot of those in this game. So you have to, build yourself a nice team. We got a really nice team here. I'd love to make it stronger. If any of you guys are interested in coming over, let's have a conversation about it. I'll be glad to jump on a call and let you know what's there, what the castle's like, what I would recommend for it, and really help you guys with the process of building that castle. And of course, you could ask any of my players. I mean, I jump into their castles if they share the logs. and we build them. So you'll have that development guidance with us. You'll get the castles built properly, and you'll be part of a good, fun team that does pretty well.
I agree. We do. And don't be discouraged. Does it make a big difference when you are not in your hive spot? Yes, it does. Because your alliance building, your alliance city, just being in there, or being in the hive in general, you get buffs from your science. So
Yeah,
I think Hex can probably explain it more than I can because I have the
yeah.
words, but
Your
they don't come
alliance.
out as best as his does.
No, yeah. The alliance science is only effective if you're in the hive, if you're in around the alliance fort, if that's what you're talking about in the game.
Yeah.
If you're talking about in battlefield, why you want to be in the hive in battlefield, it's really just about speed and protection of castles. So the castles you put in your hive, you have a couple of different strategies you can use. You can keep the small ones out so they're harder to find and they have to speed in, but that's going to affect how fast they get into the rallies. It's also going to affect how fast you can reinforce. If you're a more defensive alliance, you might want to have everybody in the hive and reinforce as they get rallied. Maybe have some pre-reinforcements in them generally, and when they get rallied, do the counter heals, the counter or reinforcement. Um, but the problems you run into when everybody goes in the hives is you small players get attacked, they run out of troops quick, and they can't join the rally. And if your rallies are not full, they're going to be less impactful. If they're less impactful, the people who are entering the rallies with the top tier troops are going to lose their top tier troops faster, which now means you can't rally and you can't defend because all your top tiers are dead because your rallies are too small.
Oh, is that what
And
he
that's the
meant
purpose
in the battlefield in the hive? Because I was talking
of
about the
being.
hive in our, our alliance.
No, nothing printed.
When you're not in your hive spot. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, I think he's talking about battlefield.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When you're not in the
battlefield.
hive, there's benefits to not being in the hive. But there's also some things that become more difficult, like the reinforcement, getting your reinforcement if you can't jump. And some people are really good at jumping away from the rally and bringing the marches back. But the other detriment is getting in the rallies fast enough. As much as people jump in this game, if you're not in the rally in 15 seconds, most likely against good players, you're too slow. And you hear me say it in my stream a lot. Come on, we gotta get faster. We gotta be faster. We gotta get in the rallies faster. It's like a broken record. And it's not because I don't think they hear me or because I want to be a prick and keep saying it. I just need to have it at the top of everybody's mind faster, 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 because faster is going to win. You could see that last week on Saturday and today, we weren't the biggest teams. We were not the biggest teams, but we were the fastest teams. And we had a good strategy on who we were hitting, and it made all the difference. So if you're fast, and you're filling your rallies, you're going to make everybody go on defense. They're going to be trying to protect the castles because there's just rallies coming in, coming in, coming in. They can't get settled. You got people porting out of rallies, jumping all over the place. Somebody trying to jump into a spot that somebody else just jumped into because they were avoiding a rally. You create chaos in the enemy's hive. That's a great thing because now they're too worried about setting up and getting in the right spot. And if they're on a call, there's a lot of commotion going on the call. There's all kinds of confusion. And in the meantime, all you're doing is rallying, bow, 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 landing on castles, hitting on castles, making them use their jumps. Now they're worried about avoiding the rallies and also trying to make sure they have enough portals held so they don't run out of jumps, and you start really breaking down the psyche of the opponent and really give your team the best chance of winning. That's why
Yes.
for us we go with speed and full rallies. You have to be able to fill the rally and you have to do it fast. If you can do that, that's half the battle right there.
Dwayne, yes, you did hear me say that. That's when he kind of snapped at me. He said, I
Yep.
noticed in stream you were saying you couldn't get in your spot. Yes, I am very very picky about being next to Hex. Number one, why? Because, well, I'm sassy. Number two, because that's my spot. And just kidding, let me get to the serious part of it.
That's
Honestly, because you've seen how many speed ups I went through, March speeds I went through today. Coming from somebody who's not a huge coiner, but I am a coiner, I try to conserve what I can, as we all do. So we try to surround Hex in the hive to try to get in the fastest. We are our four team is usually our biggest team. That's who we have surround him. So we try to stay within like 3 spots of him. When somebody's in my spot and I can't get into the rally quick enough because my march speeds are gone, that becomes a problem. So
yeah. It takes time for us to reinforce her. It takes time for her to get in the rallies, and she also has other jobs. She's streaming. She's looking at the score, keeping us up to date on who we should be hitting, who we shouldn't be hitting. She's making sure everybody else is joining the rallies. So, because there's so many other things going on for her as a leader in the alliance, she needs to be close because she needs to just be able to join and go on to the next thing. Also, we need to have the strongest players in the alliance around the rally setter because you want the strongest players filling your rally first. This way, if it's short and you have to send it short with small number of people because the player is fast and maybe he's jumping, the enemy opponent is jumping, and you need to send the rally out fast. If your strongest are around you and you have to send it short, you know it's a short rally, but it's a strong rally because your strongest are in there. Some teams like to put weaker players around the strong guy, the setter, because the setter can then go and reinforce. But like your setter shouldn't be focused on reinforcing. If you're relying on your setter to reinforce, you're going slow and you're gonna lose. Your setter's priority should be to set. Like when you see me in the streams, people are talking and I'll talk over them. Archer going up, Archer going up, Archer going up, Archer going. I'll just repeat it 100 times if I have to, because I need everybody focused on what I'm doing because I'm the setter and you need to join because that's how we win. And it sounds annoying sometimes. It annoys me sometimes. I feel bad about it. I
no,
usually
it's
talk
not
to some of the players
annoying.
after, but like it's all about focus. It's all about speed. If you get in fast, you're gonna win. Get in fast, keep the troops healthy, hit the right targets, which is my job, and I get the help from Gideon on our team. I said everybody's got a job. We have somebody's job who it is to make sure they understand the right targets to hit. So all those parameters I mentioned earlier about how we search for targets and what we're going to hit, it's that person's job to make sure we find them. And he shares it, and I make sure do a quick check. I agree, and I launch. All about the
And
speed.
and if you have your rally setter reinforcing too many people, we kind of have experienced this problem as well. Is you try to go and set a rally, but then you have to pull reinforcements from other person, then it makes you a lot slower getting
Yep.
into and setting the rallies.
Yeah. If your setter is reinforcing, you're playing a game wrong. You're not going to win. It's just not going to happen unless the whole team goes into a defensive position, which I don't like. But sometimes you have to, depending on the opponent that you're playing. If your whole team goes into a defensive position, then your setter has to also go into defense and focus there. But I think once you start focusing on defense, you lose. I've been in every All Star except the first one because I didn't realize that I needed to stay in the alliance, and I left and disqualified myself because I hadn't been in the new alliance for 3 days before All Star started.
That sucked.
So I've been in every All Star after that, and every time that I've been on a team that decides they need to focus on defense, that team comes in last every time. I've won first place in All Stars as a team, sixth overall as an individual, and played with some really good setters. Viper from Vig, really good setter. Um, there was a guy I won the first All Stars with, uh, Mileside, I believe his name was. Another good setter. I don't think he plays anymore. If he does, he's changed his name. But another good setter. And they've all done it the same way. Fast. Fast. Every time I've won, it's because we've played with setters that are fast. And
But
they
not.
understand not only fast,
Yep.
but they understand how to hit the right targets.
Exactly.
Because some setters are super fast, but they're sending horse at a 35B castle. I'm sorry. If that's the best idea you got, is to send a horse rally at a 35B castle, you already lost.
Yeah,
That's
this
not going to
really
go well.
affected his gameplay last All
Yeah.
Stars because of these players that were rally lead and weren't sending the proper troops at the right castle.
Most
So
of the time they in these all-stars they set the rally leads as the biggest war hall and the biggest power castle so the person doesn't have to jump. And I don't build a lot of power. I prefer to build strength versus power. I don't need a lot of troops if my troops are super strong. I just need the right composition and I need to know how to use them. So I'm not one of these players that's ever going to be 200B or, whatever, 100B. That's not my goal. After I get where I need to be, I'll build the troops slowly, but it's really just about fixing the strength of the castle, not about having a resource built castle, you know?
I think what he means by I was going to get to that question after he was done. He says, "Do you have a building team or not needed at your level?" I think what he means is, do we have a team that we send people kind of like a training alliance or something to help get you ready? Is that what you mean, Dwayne?
I think he's talking about battlefield. Do we have people take the battlefields,
A building
buildings?
team. Do you have a building team? Oh, a building team. Okay, you're still talking
Yeah,
about
for
Battlefield.
battlefields.
Okay.
So we we
Used
do the
to.
buildings a little differently. Yeah, we do the buildings a little differently. We've tried having a building team. We've tried having a portal team. I think that takes away from the rally, and the rally is the way you win. So our strategy now is to ensure we have somebody whose job it is to make sure we have enough ports to jump. And then I don't worry about the buildings. If you're worrying about the buildings, you're already lost. You can keep unless you're that good of a team where you can keep all the portals and you got guys that are big enough and strong enough to hold the portals to stop the other teams from getting them and still fill your rallies. Unless you can do that, I wouldn't bother with the buildings. I leave the buildings because the extra little bit of buff you get from it is not going to matter. The rally halls are good if you're overfilling your rallies and your rally capacity is low. I just set up next to that. I'll set up next to the rally hall. I'll set up next to the portal, or I'll set up next to the Knights Hall, depending on the type of team that we're playing. Sometimes I set up next to the Blessing Tower. Again, it depends on the opponent that we're playing, but we don't have a team anymore that specifically holds buildings because it takes away from the rally. You want the fullest rallies in the fastest amount of time to make the most damage. And if you got people split up on the map, just going to portals and buildings and jumping and playing defense, you're not aligned as a team. There's a lot of good players out there that are on bad teams and just not structured right. And that's why you see some of these big players that are super strong with really crappy SVS rankings and battlefield rankings because they just don't have a team. It's all about the speed and filling the rally. If you take that approach, I'm convinced you do well. Others may have a different approach, but that's what I like.
You've seen today where we got down to one port, and yes, that does affect us, especially if we're against really big teams. Like our last
Hmm.
match was kind of tough, but we still
You
came in
can't get
first.
port locked. Yep, do not get port locked.
You don't want to get port
That's a
locked. Them
problem.
portals are probably more important than any of those buildings. So, yeah,
Yeah,
we try to make sure that we have somebody on the portals, and if we don't, then you heard
we all
me
stop.
call out today. I'm
Yeah,
like, all right, guys, we need ports.
everybody stops what they're doing for 1 minute, and we take all the portals for 1 minute, and that gives us, a nice handful of portals, and then I start rallying again. If somebody's coming at the portals, I rally the team that's coming at the portal, so then it distracts them with the portal and makes them go on defense. We go on offense, and we're still holding the portals, gaining ports.
Yep. It works out that way. Oh, it's okay, Puff. No worries. So we came in 36th overall. I thought we were going to come higher than that, but it came down to the honors.
Oh, we didn't get 33.
No, it was 36. It was the
They sent them.
honors. You want me to send
Oh,
it to you?
yeah.
Yeah, we got 24 honors and the one above us. So we're the top in the 24 honors, but the highest we got was 36.
I bet you we got more honors than some people who got more points above us. We only lost one match, right?
Just the second round. We came in, what was it, second or third? And that was the
Yeah,
honors. That was the only honors we lost. Everything else we came in.
first.
Yeah. Thank you
It
so
just goes
much
to
for all
show,
your
and
time
we
and
didn't have all the
insight.
players. Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate the questions.
Thank you so much for all your time and insight. I will rewatch this again because there's so much and send it to my team. Yes, definitely, Dwayne. Send it to your team. Have them follow. We go live every battlefield. BOG and BOC sometimes are tough, especially BOG during the week because, I do have children and they have to get up early. So me being loud in my office isn't necessarily the best thing to do. Late at night, we do time slot 9, which is our time, 11 p.m. Or we'll go back now, Hex. We'll go to
Mm-hmm.
10 now.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, definitely send the link to your team. Have them follow. Anytime you have questions, Hex is always happy to jump on and help teach. We can always come on a live, do a Q&A like we did today, and help you guys out.
But the best way is to come join 467 and play with me.
Yeah, amen. We do have quite a few castles. Like we said, I did show a couple of them without naming them because
Yeah. It's always listen. It's always difficult to leave your server. I did it. I went through it once where when that period I was talking about where Scorpio passed away and Power had took some time off and there was just way too much on my shoulders and you know we didn't have some of the players that we have now and I wound up trying to go to another server and it was difficult and I went and I spent money and I coined in another server and I built another strong castle that somebody else has now. But at the end of the day, you know it's really about purpose, right? What are you trying to achieve? And the other server that I went was a different server and they had other players, but it was a lot of the same kind of issues. And I realized what was important to make the game go the way I wanted it to go, which is, you don't play to lose, right? You want to win as much as possible or at least be competitive. It was really just about building a team. And it's difficult when you're in a server and you built your castle already and you don't want to go into a castle that's smaller or lower power. But think about how much more time and effort you're going to put into that. How much more money. And then still at the end of the day, you're not going to have a team. You're going to have a better castle in the same situation where you don't have a team. The team is important. We got a good team. For a good player coming in, will help you build the castle. So if you're interested, let Sassy or myself know.
Yeah, definitely let us know. I'm also going to post the link to my streaming Discord. We do not use this Discord for our voice channels unless we are doing just a random Q&A. Will come to this channel. I'm trying to figure out how to send an invite from here. Hex, you're in it, right?
I'm in the YouTube
No, not in
stream.
the YouTube. The streaming with Sassy Discord channel.
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out how to invite. I think I did it. Let's see. Oh wait, what did I just do? Chilled. That's not it.
Yeah, you go to streaming with Sassy and you share invite. But they have to be, I think, you have to know the name. They have to put their Discord name, and then you can share the invite that way. It sends them a link to join the server.
I think I did it. If you guys are more than welcome to join there, if you have any questions, ask in there. I can let you know. Send it to your team. Have them join it. That way I can let you guys know when we're going live to do a Q&A for you guys. If you guys bombard with a bunch of questions, then Hex has no choice but to go live because then he'll have me down his back, like, you know.
Now we're willing to help. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love how Peter had to chime in. He's like, trust me, guys, she will.
Yeah.
She really will.
Hex
Yeah.
is not the mean one.
Just not get on the bad side of sass.
No, but I got to get going, guys. So, pleasure.
Thanks so
Thanks
much,
for the
Hex. We
questions.
appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate it. Good job today in the battles.
Of course.
All right, take care.
All right, guys. I got to jump off too.
All
Later.
right, see you later, Peter. Everybody in
All right,
the
take care.
chat, if you have not posted your in-game ID, do so now. I will be copying these, sending them to Evony, and they will be sending you rewards. Today's reward, let's see. I will show you. Today's reward is 2,500 gems. No, 25,000 gems. 24-hour speed up, 5 super resource chests, 5 runestone chests, 10 level 1 refining stones, and then level 1 refining stones 300.
Yeah.
They got it backwards. I don't know. You can see it for yourself right here.
All right. Catch you guys later.
See you, Peter.
All right. Bye.
See you, Peter.
Let me go dig mine out. Yeah. So definitely, if you don't have a Discord, make a Discord. Share this Discord link with your team, and you can even share it in your server, and we can help your server out just with Q&As. We don't mind doing it. It's awesome. You know, we get to teach other people how to play. Hex is a great source of information. As you see, he's a really great player. So yeah, all right, I am going to hop off of here. I appreciate you all. Actually, I'll wait, Dwayne, until you get your ID in there. I'll wait.
Well, we also don't have just Hex as a valuable resource. Even though he is, we have other players that have the experience.
Yes, we absolutely do. I just use Hex as that crutch because we usually all go to him to kind of like confirm, are we doing this right? Or is this
Oh,
correct?
absolutely.
How do you find your ID? I'm going to show you. Sorry. I'm going to show you how to find your ID. So if you're looking at the stream and you're in your castle, you're going to click on your Monarch ID up on the top left. So right here on the top left. And then you're going to hit Detail on the bottom left. Hit Detail, and then there is your ID right under your name. ID, mine is ID 76224794. That's the ID that we need you to put in the chat. So again, you click on your Monarch on the top left, Detail on the bottom left, and then your ID underneath your name.
No, I was just saying if Hex isn't on at that point in time, because I know he has a lot of stuff that he does, we do have others that are more than willing to help.
Absolutely. We absolutely do. We've got... Hold on, I'm trying to do this from the computer and see if it works. I just don't know if it does. Nope, it don't. Okay. I need to copy this somehow. So we've got Twitch, who has been playing since before Evony was an app. He was playing on the computer version. We've got Gideon, who is a newer player, but the guy is incredibly smart and remembers every little detail about everything. It's almost like he has like what is it called, Puff?
Eidetic memory.
Yeah, like he remembers everything. So he's another player that can really help, aside from Hex. There's always me and Peter and Grey Wolf and Stroke.
Don't undersell yourself.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for that ID to come in before I end my stream. I don't want to screw you out. Or you can always message it to me in the game. You guys feel free to ask me to be friends. In the game, I usually try to accept all of them. At least hear you out. It's there. What do you mean it's there? Did you? I didn't. I don't have it. I don't think. Let's see. I'm looking. Okay, yep. Post your ID, Dwayne. There it is. Alright, cool. Alright, I'm gonna end this stream again. Join the Discord, guys. We'll help you out in your new server. I'm gonna go get lunch. I'm starving. Good idea? My daughter's hungry too. Alright, see you guys later. I'm ending the stream. Goodbye. It's 39. I don't know what that means. Alright, great. Thanks, guys, again. See you later.